What's going on, family? Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. Thank you for clicking on my channel. And today we're going to be discussing Aquaman from 2018. This movie, I was looking forward to reviewing this movie because I remember when it first came out, I wasn't a big fan, not of the movie, but I didn't have high expectations in this film. I went into this film with no expectations at all, especially having watched Man of Steel back in 2013, BVS, Wonder Woman, which was amazing, leading up to the Justice League, and then seeing this, came out, I'm not gonna lie, came out rather impressed. This movie was rather impressive, especially we didn't see anything like this on the screen regarding superhero film, right? For starters, I gotta state that I'm not overly keen on watching movies like this when it comes to, like, you know, water, epic kind of things like that. But since Jason Momoa came in here to play Aquaman, who I thought was a perfect casting, I said, you know what, I got to watch this movie. It made sense because, you know, most of them all seem to follow the same doctrine and blueprint. But I was forced into watching this 2018 DC Aquaman movie together with my family, and it turned out that it was actually a good thing that I was forced to watch it, because it turned out that Aquaman was actually one of the better superhero movies that I've watched in a long, long time. And this was a movie that had to be made, in my opinion. Not that I'm in any way familiar with the backstory of the character, and I haven't read the comic book to him, but this was definitely well done. Initially, like I was saying before, I was a little bit hesitant about this movie, but it turned out that the director, James Wan, who I'm a big fan of, usually does horror films, managed to get this film in front of him. And he managed to turn the writing material to David Leslie Johnson, McGoldrick, Will Beal, and Jeff Johns. And they turned this into something truly entertaining and enjoyable. The movie was driven by a good story where one quickly and easily gets submerged. No pun intended, but into the setting and into the ongoings on the screen. Plus, it was also a plus that it had some interesting characters in it to help along the way as well. Needless to say that the CGI and special effects had a major role in making it visually astounding and enjoyable. Man, this movie CGI was amazing. Now, normally I'm not much of a fan of Jason Momoa. Usually I go up and down on his roles. I feel like sometimes he's better in some than others. But I gotta admit that he really carried himself formidably in this movie, as I thought he would. And he really owned up to the responsibility of playing Aquaman. You know, at first I was like, Aquaman, you know, imagine if they put that on screen, how cheesy it would look, because I used to see the cartoon. And he wasn't this Aquaman, so I'm glad that they gave this Aquaman a revamp. They gave him a rock star persona, which meshed well with the other superheroes. Not in this movie, but when it comes to Justice League. And although I have no idea how much pressure would be on him to play that character, I think, hits it out the ballpark. But he did it phenomenally, in my opinion, regardless of what's been said, regardless of anybody else's review. It was, of course, a treat to see Willem Dafoe in the movie, despite it being somewhat disturbing and unsettling. To see him made young and vigorous in this movie, that drew me back as well. But it was great to see him younger in this movie. I feel like that man's been old forever. Patrick Wilson actually was well cast in this role. He had in the movie as well. And he brought so much grace and charm and wit to Orm, which is a dark character. And he looks amazing. You can tell he really bulked up. Looks really good in that role. I had initially thought that he would be up to the task, but he proved me pretty much wrong. You know, I think he was a great villain. I had initially thought that he would be up for a different role in the movie, but I'm glad he ended up with that one. Then you have the likes of Nicole Kidman, who plays Aquaman's mother, and Dolph Lundgren, who also actually has a lot of fun in this movie. You could tell watching this movie they had a ball. despite them not having an abundance of screen time, they do play significant roles in the story, and they are utilized really well. The pacing to the movie was fast, it was upbeat, it was needed, and the movie kicked off into high octane speed right from the beginning, believe it or not, and it never really slowed down, which was very impressive. It was an accomplishment in my opinion, and it really made the movie all more intense and enjoyable throughout to sit through. As for the special effects and CGI, well, there's just a single word necessary to summarize the entire movie, and that word is fucking awesome, man. Like, wow. I don't think they could have did it any better. You know, when you watch this, you're like, damn, are you kidding me? This movie takes you in for a tour de France, tour de force, and it really showcases some rather impressive feats and accomplishments in the visual department and also in the audio department. Prepare to be blown away if you haven't seen this movie. With that being said, the movie is not all flawless. Personally, I found it a bitter pill to swallow, that the whole thing about the secrecy and what was going on there, it was just too far out there for my liking. I wanted the movie to be a little more simplistic, but at the same time, I do understand why they mentioned these things for possible sequels and spin-offs and stuff like that. So that threw me for a loop. And also the fact that all the marvelous, magnificent, malignant, and spectacular aquatic creatures in this, and vehicles and settlements have remained from the humans living on the surface is just beyond me. It's like, how are you able to hide all this? You know, it makes absolutely no sense at all. Especially when there's divers, there's scuba divers and all this. You telling me you don't see that there's another city below the ground? I find that hard to believe. But then again, that's just the way I look at film. Now, I was praising the CGI and special effects just now, right? So there were some scenes where we have the characters floating around and they're supposed to be appearing in submerged and underwater, right? And sometimes it comes off being fake, ridiculously fake. And that was a shame because the rest of the 95% of the special effects and CGI in this movie was spot on. And if you enjoy movies like this, such superhero movies, and such exquisite details sometimes get missed, and I'm a sucker for them. And even if you have no particular interest in superhero movies, then you should actually take the time to sit down and actually watch this movie. It's definitely worth the time, the effort, the money at this time. You know, you're not going to see it in the theater, but you could definitely get it on streaming services. I recommend you go buy it. This movie was definitely one of the better DC movies, and actually broke records. This movie made $1 billion in the box office. That should be telling you a lot, and that has a lot to do with Jason Momoa's character. I don't mention Amber Heard too much in the because I feel like she wasn't essential to the plot. I feel like she wasn't anything huge in this film. She does good in her role. The wig could have been better, but I guess that's not her fault fully. That's more costume and design. But definitely go check out this movie. I give this movie 8.5 out of 10. And if you liked this review, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. And if you want more content from me, please subscribe to the next one. Peace.